everyone and welcome back to another Marvel Crisis Protocol Battle Report. Sora's cameo. Sora, you ready to go? Yeah? She seems moderately interested. That's a step up. She's growing on the game. Anyway, today for you we have 18 threat of Avengers versus 18 threat of Asgardians. On the same table as last time, just because I wanted to celebrate the digital Gen Con releases over the weekend there. The X-Men, the Defenders, all that good stuff, and the surprises like She-Hulk and the new terrain set that looks great. So, rearranged things to make another Marvel Crisis Protocol Battle Report happen. Thank you for the support on them, and please do remember to subscribe if you want to see more in the future. Now then, board's all set up, but let's quickly take a look at the teams and get started. And here are our Asgardians, being led by Thor, of course. Then we also have Hela over here. We have Loki being mischievous. We have Valkyrie at the back there, and making up the rest of the points, we have Okoye, just for a cheap 2 threat unit. The team tactics cards: Odin's Blessing, Sibling Rivalry, Seeing Red, Brace for Impact, and Patch Up. And here are our Avengers, Captain America leading the force, of course. That rhymed, but I didn't mean to. Then we have Hawkeye, we have the Hulk, and we have Iron Man, and then did want to have Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. Black Widow, but sadly to fit the Hulk in it had to just be bog standard from the core box, regular 2-threat Black Widow, so she's there as well. Tactics cards: Ricochet, Blast, Professionals, Med-Pack, Gamma Launch, and Anger Management. And these are the 2 missions being played, the threat level of the Extraction, but we also have the Secure. So we've got Fear Grips the World as Worthy Terrorized Citizens, so that's the hammers on the map that give you more power but can make Team Tactics cards cost 1 more. And the Infinity Canisters that you have to claim by being within 1, and if you're within, within 1 because it's contesting, you get 1 extra power if you're at one of the formula. So the formulas are there, 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 and the hammers are, as I also almost knock over the statue, there, 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 and there. 4 hammers, 4 serum canisters. We're ready to go. Let's get these teams set up. So we've got everything set up here. The Asgardians are on the left and will be taking first activation. The Avengers are on the right. Hulk and Hela, although Hulk more so, definitely making use of the fact that only part of your base needs to touch the 3 range in to be very close to the Infinity Formula there. As we start with Hawkeye there, Iron Man there, and then over here Captain America and Black Widow. And then if you come around here, as I say, Hela is also kind of poking forwards to get to that Infinity Formula. Loki and Thor next to each other with that hammer right there. And across here we have Okoye, oh my shadow's in the way, Okoye and Valkyrie as well. And with that, we're jumping into Battle Round 1, Asgardians going first. So Hela was the one to get the game started to try and snatch away the chance of the Hulk getting a hammer. She double moved for her activations, medium to there, and then medium to there, within 1 to spend a power to pick up the hammer that was there. So it's on her person, it obviously opens her up to attack, but definitely did not want the Hulk to get that hammer. Does mean that she is not within range to be claiming that Infinity Formula, but it might pay off in the long run to keep the Hulk kind of subdued. We'll see. Over to the Avengers. So despite Hela stealing that hammer, the first activation for the Avengers was the Hulk. His first activation, or first action rather, was to move. He then spent 2 but down to 1 thanks to a day like any other, or unlike any other. I always get that confused. Picked up the car, chucked it at Hela. Hela has 4 physical defense though, so it's pretty easy for her to dodge. All said and done, she took 1 damage from the impact of the car. The Hulk does have another action. Nothing to be done. Can't throw anything, can't reach with an attack, and wants to bank power, which is why, and then knock over a lamppost, apologies. Wants to bank power, so that's why he's staying, claiming the Infinity Formula there. So with that, over to Asgardians again. So Thor was next up, and he played Sibling Rivalry. So that's 1 power each off of him and Loki, as long as they're within 2 of each other, which they were. He chucks Loki medium. He isn't impacting with anybody, so it's irrelevant. He doesn't take impact damage. If he'd hit into someone, they roll fewer defense dice. But it was purely to give him a move without taking a turn. So Loki got chucked over there to be closer to that Infinity Formula. I think he's within 1. We'd need to measure that. It's almost, if it's not 1, it's very close to 1. Then for his actual actions, moved, spent his other power to pick up the hammer, and it's important that it was done in that order, because if he'd done the hammer thing first, Sibling Rivalry would have cost him 1 more power, which he wouldn't have had enough power to do. Then just move forward again to where you can see him kind of in the middle of the table, just staring down his opponents. Hawkeye was up, he moved for his first action, so that he's within 1 of the serum there. Then he shot his arrow at Hela, and at least one wild was rolled, so full quiver kicked in, so he gets to pick a stats effect to inflict on her after damage is handled. Hela did badly with her defense roll and got none, so that is 3 damage and the bleed stats effect. So she's suffering a little bit. Let's see, I don't think they're going to be able to protect her, but let's see if they can do anything about that. Valkyrie was the next to activate, and she did a double move in order to get over to where you can see her to spend 1 power to pick up the hammer that I kind of forgot was nestled between the garbage can and telephone booth there, because Black Widow could easily have grabbed that. Got a bit too focused on trying to take Hela out. So Valkyrie now has a hammer as well. There's 1 hammer left in play on the table, which is that one over there. But she also is not claiming the serum canister there, although obviously Okoye can probably do that come the time. Captain America moved to spend his 1 power on the hammer that was there and has picked it up, then moved medium again to be well within 1 of the Infinity Formula over there, kind of staring down Valkyrie, and he's a little bit tougher now. Simple enough turn for Okoye followed. She just moved into position so that she's slightly concealed by the car there, well within 1 to be claiming the Infinity Formula at the back there. That just leaves Loki for the Asgardians, but it's over to Black Widow or Iron Man for the Avengers. Iron Man flew down from on top of the building where he started to where you can see him. He fired a repulsor blast at Hela. 2 crits in the initial roll led to 3 damage potentially being done after defense rolls. It would have been enough to take her out because she has 2 HP left on her healthy side. No choice, Odin's Blessing got played. So it is spend 3, reduces the damage taken down to 1. So she has taken 1, she has 1 HP left, and that is the difference between a victory point being scored and dropping the hammer. So it might be considered a little bit of a waste because Odin's Blessing is really, really good. But hey, it's worth a victory point, and they are going to get first activation in the next battle round, so that would be a chance for Hela to potentially get out of dodge. We'll see. Anyway, it's over to Loki to end the turn for the Asgardians now, and then back over to Black Widow. So there wasn't many options for Loki despite wanting to be a nuisance, so he just moved up but still having to stay within 1 to claim this formula, and he doesn't want to fire a beam through Hela to hit the Hulk, although it's only range 3, so I'm still not sure that, no, range 3 wouldn't reach anyway, but he doesn't want to shoot through Hela because that would obviously kill her, so he's just claiming. I mean, it earns a victory point, so it's not like it's worthless, but he isn't protecting her. Anyway, over to Black Widow to end the first battle round. So Black Widow moved up so that she's also claiming the Infinity Formula there to get some extra power in the next turn. She was just within range to shoot her pistols at Valkyrie. Valkyrie defended, comfortably defended, so took no damage. And that's us into the cleanup and scoring. So at the end of battle round 1, the Asgardians have pulled slightly ahead by being able to control more of the hammers. They have 3 of them because Hela has 1, barely. Thor has 1 and Valkyrie has 1. They're also holding 2 of their Infinity Serums, there and there. The Avengers are holding their Infinity Serums there and there, and of course they only have 1 hammer, which is being helped by Captain America. So as we go into battle round 2, the Asgardians have 5 victory points, playing the Avengers 3, and it is the Asgardians who get first activation again. Oh, and again, just to mention, the people who are within 1 of Infinity Serums, so Black Widow, Captain America, Okoye, Loki, Hulk and Hawkeye, all generate 1 bonus power on top of whatever they would normally get because of the serum being close by. So to get Battle Round 2 started proper, Hela activated, and perhaps unsurprisingly, Patch-Up was played. Choose a non-dazed allied character. Hela chose herself. Another character within 2 can spend up to 5 to play this card. Remove damage from the chosen character equal to the damage, the power spent. Loki spent 4 power and has patched Hela up. And with that, she then moved and got rid of her bleed because the only person she could reach with Reign of Hell, which is her other option, was the Hulk, and you want to starve the Hulk of power, so she retreated instead, but is within 1 of the Infinity Formula there. So first up for the Avengers was the Hulk. He spent 3 down to 2 to do Gamma Leap to move forwards 2. Then he did a Thunderclap from where he was, which caught both Loki and Hela. Loki dodged it entirely. Hela took 2 damage from it, so she's back to 3 out of 6 on her healthy side. Then for his other action, he just moves small so that he is contesting, although they've still got priority. And he is within 1 of that serum, so he will still get power from it even if he doesn't end up helping to overwrite the Asgardian control. Back over to the Asgardians, speaking of them. Valkyrie moved up for her first action and then did a Dragon Fang on Black Widow. However, I was going to say Superman there. Captain America spent 1 power to bodyguard it for her, which he may end up regretting because he did get walloped by the attack. No wild in the roll though, so no follow-up strike thankfully. But he did take 4 damage out of 5 on his healthy side, which is pretty nasty. Valkyrie was not able to get within 1, but her goal was to daze Black Widow. That didn't happen, thanks to Captain America, but he did suffer for it. So staying over here, Black Widow was next, and the first thing she did was play Medpack. So you spend 3, and then you can heal yourself or a character within 3 for 3 damage. She healed Cap for 3 damage, so he only took 1 all said and done. So he's back to only having 1 damage. Then she just did 2 basic strikes on Valkyrie, and she did amazingly well. Or I guess it's more accurate to say Valkyrie just did very, very badly with her defense rolls. Each one did 2 damage, so Valkyrie's at 4 out of 6 damage, which is pretty bad for her. Lots of power generated on both behalves though, because it was just basic strikes. Now it's over to one of the Asgardians. Thor activated, and for his first action moved up, and for his second initiated a hammer throw on Hawkeye. Now remember, Thor has an extra hammer, so it's 1 die extra. However, because he is outside of range 3, Hawkeye spent 2 down to 1, which makes it really cost efficient. On fast draw, where he's allowed to just do an arrow shot, and the arrow shot is resolved first, as far as I can tell by the wording. So his arrow shot did really, really well. Got a wild and hit Thor for 3 damage, so bleed was placed on him as well. Thor's hammer throw in turn did 2 damage to Hawkeye. He has bad energy defense, so he's lucky he only took that. But because the attack is resolved first before the end of that, and he has bleed now, presumably when it reaches Thor's end of turn, he also takes an additional 1 damage for the bleed. If that is incorrect, please let us know, but I think that's the way that goes. So he's going to actually have taken 4 damage in his own turn. Hawkeye was next up. He stayed exactly where he was and had a really, this is the best I've seen him do, he had a really good turn. Stayed where he was, shot his first arrow at Thor, did 2 damage, that was enough to daze Thor. Thor dropped his hammer and it was placed there, hopefully for Iron Man to pick it up when he gets a turn. That's Hawkeye could technically have hook arrowed over to grab it, but he's only got 2 health left. Iron Man holding it would be much safer, taking a bit of a risk, yes. But he's got range 5, so he shot his other arrow at Loki, did 2 damage to Loki, got a wild, so also inflicted slow on him. So if Loki wants to get that hammer first, which he can do, he'll have to move slow, which means he'll use 2 movements to grab it, and then be isolated and have Hawkeye and Iron Man pick on him. That's a decision he'll have to make. Well, either him or Okoye activate next, and Okoye is probably just going to sit on the point, so it's down to what Loki decides is the best course of action. So it was really a tough choice for Loki no matter what he did. Yes, he could have moved twice and picked up the hammer to get a point. Leaving would mean that nobody scores this one because it's a draw between Hela and Hulk. And then Iron Man could just move down here to give priority to score a victory point, so that cancels out grabbing the hammer. He could have stayed where he was to still get a point here. Iron Man could still come over and cancel it, so nobody scores it. Or he could do what he actually did. Again, no matter which option he did here, there was always a negative. His option was, he opted to move, small because of slow, and then Frost Blast Hawkeye to try and take him out, to force Iron Man to stay over there. It did not work out. He did 1 damage with a very bad roll, which Hawkeye, with only 2 energy defense, was able to block. So, of all the things he could have done, that might not even be the best option, and it had the worst possible result regardless. So now either Iron Man or Captain America get to go for the Avengers. So Iron Man opted to play the objectives, not go for any damage or anything like that. He paid 1 power to pick up the hammer that was there, and then moved twice to claim and overwrite Hela, cancelling out Hulk here, so that this is being claimed down here for 1 victory point. And the serum there. So he didn't attack, but he did his job, and he will be helping to generate 2 victory points at the end of a turn. Now Okoye is next up for the Asgardians. She's obviously just going to stay there because there's nothing else she can do, so it's actually just going to be straight back over to Captain America because he's going to see if he can take down Valkyrie. So it all came down to Captain America. He spent the power required to do a shield slam and attacked Valkyrie. It only did 1 damage, however it also got a wild, so he can throw the target small, so he threw her into the side of the building there, which automatically does 1 damage on impact. He still had another free attack he could have done to take it out, so it didn't seem worth wasting Brace for Impact. So she's down. The hammer would have dropped, but he's immediately paid the power to pick it up, so he is holding it, and that takes us to the cleanup for Battle Round 2. So the Avengers managed to turn things around in what was a fantastic turn for them. Captain America has 2 hammers. How he's holding both of those and his shield, I don't know, but he is. And Iron Man has another hammer. Hela still holds 1 hammer for the Asgardians, so that's 3 versus 1. And the Avengers managed to claim 3 of the Infinity Formula locations. That one, that one, that one. And Okoye is holding that one, so that's a difference of 2, because it's 3 versus 1. So as we go into Battle Round 3, it's 9 victory points to the Avengers, 7 to the Asgardians. Asgardians are still going first. Thor's flipping his card, which also did give Hela a lost soul, forgot to mention that earlier. And everybody who's within 1 of an infinity formula is getting 1 extra power. So Hela actually took first activation in Battle Round 3 for the Asgardians and did something perhaps unexpected and abandoned this formula here, because I guess she's not going to take out the Hulk. So she moved medium and then did Reign of Hell on Hawkeye. She rolled very well. He rolled astonishingly well on his 4 physical defense dice. He didn't have bleed, so he was allowed to count wilds, or whatever it is that our debuff is. So he only ever ended up taking 1 damage, so he has 1 HP left. So he's still standing. It's very unlikely he's going to be standing much longer, but that does mean that someone else is going to have to take him out and free up that point to be held. So Hawkeye was up next for the Avengers, and he is MVP of this match. Absolutely undisputed. His dice rolls have been on fire. He stayed where he was and shot just 2 arrow shots at Hela. The first one whiffed entirely, didn't even need to roll a defense roll. His next roll, 3 crits, 2 hits on the 5 dice. So Hela was absolutely obliterated, took 4 damage. She only needed 2 to get stunned. Either way, more than enough. She is stunned, and her hammer has been dropped back here. So it's going to force either Thor or Loki to backtrack if they want to pick it up, because they are obviously probably going to get a turn before Iron Man or the Hulk does. Hawkeye didn't want it because he's probably going to get downed. So yeah, but Hawkeye has been MVP by a mile. His dice, ridiculous rolls. That's not the first time he's rolled. I think an earlier roll was 2 crits, 3 hits. It's just ridiculous. Thor was up next and he made his presence felt. He did a For Asgard, which is a move followed by a free strike. So he moved and struck at Iron Man for just 1 damage. No, for no damage actually in that first one. Then he did another For Asgard to reposition himself so he was within 1 of this serum. Hit Iron Man, did 1 damage. Then he spent 3 power on Strongest Avenger to pick up Hulk and throw him at Iron Man, so Hulk automatically takes 1 damage. Iron Man whiffed his dodge roll and took 5 damage. He only needed 4. He is dazed, so he will not be getting a turn. He dropped his hammer and it's been placed within 1 of Loki. And that's Thor bringing things back there by himself. Hulk was next to activate and he had a very busy turn. So first of all, he gamma leaped, and remember, a day like any other brings the cost down, but Loki brings the cost back up to even it out at what it would normally cost. So he went over here, spent the power to pick up the hammer, and then did Strongest Wonder is to throw Loki at Thor, which did 1 damage and 1 damage respectively. Then for his first proper action, because that was 2 superpowers, he did a move, small, back into range here, and then he did a basic strike on Loki. Loki used 3 power, 2 power, whatever it was, to do Trickster, to move away out of range, which means he can just pick another target. So he picked Thor. Thor took 3 damage from it, and he gets pushed away small, whether it does damage or not. So Hulk had a very effective turn there as well, and with that it's back over to the Asgards. Valkyrie activated and for her first action did a charge, so that's a move and attack on Black Widow, which whiffed. Cap did not choose to bodyguard, and it's just as well because it would have been pointless. Well, 1 hit got through, but Black Widow blocked it with her defense. So then she had quite enough of that, so she did a Warrior of Legend Dragonfang. More than enough, 6 damage. Black Widow was obliterated. Again, Captain America chose not to bodyguard for her, so she is dazed. So now it's over to Captain America, or, well, Iron Man's dazed as well. I think that might just be it. So wielding a hammer in each hand somehow, with a shield, Captain America activated and started with a shield slam on Valkyrie, which brought it up to 8 dice. 3 damage and throw small, though she didn't make impact, so she didn't take any damage from the throw, but that was just to get her away from the objective. Then he did a shield throw follow-up, which again had 2 extra dice thrown in, but that didn't get through her defenses, so nothing there. So he stayed where he was to obviously claim the serum. That's his turn. Okoye is obviously just going to stay over there, so she's not doing anything. Iron Man isn't getting a turn because he's dazed, so it's over to Loki to end the turn, and it does mean Avengers will be going first next turn. And a simple enough turn for Loki to end on, just a double move, but small thanks to slow. So he has moved, double there. He's still wanting to take off that last HP off Hawkeye. But either way, that is the end of Battle Round 3 as we move into cleanup and add up the scores. So after the scores have been tallied, the Avengers are pulling away with it. It looks like they're going to win in the next turn, and there's very little the Asgardians are probably able to do about it, but we shall play on to see. The Hulk is claiming this serum, Hawkeye is claiming that serum, Captain America is claiming that serum, Okoye is claiming that serum for the Asgardians, so 3 plays 1. Thor has a hammer for 1 victory point, Captain America has 2, and Hulk has 1 for 3 for the Avengers, meaning as we go into Battle Round 4, it is 15 victory points of the 16 required to win for the Avengers, and the Asgardians are now trailing on 9. and it is the Avengers going first. So no sooner has Battle Round 4 started have we reached basically the end of the game, because Iron Man just did not the impossible but the amazing. From where he is, he did a Friday AI enhanced Unibeam for 5 power, 6 power, because he's sitting on tons. He did it on Thor, did 3, 4, 5, more than enough. Thor is dead. He dropped his hammer and it was placed back there to be extra trolly. Sorry, the light is shining on it weird. There it is there. Then for his other action, he did homing rockets with the leftover power he had on Hela, and it did an amazing 5 damage. A bunch of crits got rolled. Hela's defense was 0. She did not do well. She is also dead. And also I do have a clarifying query about Lost Souls. She had 2 on her prior to getting dazed, and some other people did get knocked out after she was... Well, actually, no, she would have 3, wouldn't she? Because Thor died before she did, and it was a separate attack. So you know what? Hela can come back. I was going to say she couldn't, because people got dazed in the previous turn after she was dazed. Doesn't matter, because Thor just went down. So actually Hela is not dead. That is my bad. I misunderstood. I've forgotten which side she was. I think she was there because she was going for Hawkeye. So actually she's just absorbed her 3 souls to stay on her wounded side and is alive. So actually there might be something that can be done. So never mind me, let's carry on. So the newly resurrected Hela activated. She did a move action, then did Rain of Hell on Hawkeye. He only had 1 HP, the poor so-and-so. It did 4, he is dazed, and now she is claiming that Infinity Formula, so she's denied a victory point, if nothing else, over to the Avengers. Captain America activated, did 2 shield throws against Valkyrie. The first one failed to do any damage, the second one however did 3, and it only required 2. She is gone. And with that, that secures 2 hammers and a victory point, so obviously it's over. If it wasn't already, it is now. However, I believe Loki wants to have 1 spiteful last activation first, so let's do that. So Loki did get his wish. He got a little spiteful hit in. He moved small, then he did mesmerize? No, illusions. And mesmerize is the thing that can happen, or vice versa. On Iron Man, managed to do 3 damage, so he did okay. So we were going to end, but the Hulk has not activated yet. So maybe he's a little cross with Loki. So the Hulk marched over to Loki, and he didn't have enough power to illusion himself out the range, so a basic strike was enough to do 2 damage, which has dazed Loki. He could have even been thrown after that if he wanted to. Insert link in comments to the gif of Loki getting bashed side to side by the Hulk from the first Avengers movie here. And with that, we're done. Into the cleanup. So with 3 hammers in their possession, and this serum and that serum, that brings the Avengers well beyond the 16 required to win at 20. And the Asgardians have the serum down there. Hela now controls the serum over by Hawkeye over there, and they lost all their hammers, didn't they? Yes, they did. So that brought them to 11, yes, 11. 20 plays 11 at the end of the game. For whatever reason, that was one of the most enjoyable battles I've seen on the table here. I don't know if it's just because it was a fairly good matchup. There was definitely abnormal rolls. Hawkeye was on fire, as previously stated. It can't be overstated how good, specifically his role, there was good rolls on both sides, but specifically Hawkeye's rolls were just astonishingly good in this game, and yeah, he is 100% MVP for the Avengers. I don't know who would be the MVP for the other side. Okoye, to me, is probably... She did what the ideal 2-threat character does. She didn't get harassed by anybody. She went onto a point turn 1 and generated a victory point every turn. Now granted, if you're... The ideal 2-threat also has good range, so maybe Shuri would have been a better choice. Although is she 3-threat? I don't remember. Either way, ideally you want a 3 or a 2-threat person to just sit unharassed on a back line in near your deployment objective and shoot at anybody and don't have them come near you. Okoye just sat there behind the car and scored 1 victory point every single turn, so she brought 4 victory points to the table for 2-threat, which seems like a pretty good deal to me. Yes, if she had had a ranged attack it would have been better, although even, like, no one even came close to getting within range 5 of her, I don't think. Everybody wanted Hawkeye dead for whatever reason, the cocky so-and-so, but he lived until right at the very end, and well, he technically did still live, he just got dazed. Anyway, that was immense fun. I hope you enjoyed watching it as much as it was enjoyed playing, and there will be more to come in the future, and unboxings later this month for the August releases, whatever they are, because it's a bit strange. There's like 5 different things listed for August. I don't think that many things are releasing at once. That'd be very I think I can hear my wallet crying from here. Anyway, please do show your support and subscribe if you want to see more in the future for this and the other miniature games we cover on the channel. Thanks for watching. Ta for now.